2026. We're in the Nauset Meeting Room of Town Hall. It's just about 3 p.m. On the top of the agenda is the Zoom login information, as well as the dial-a-by phone and webinar ID you can use. So our agenda is pretty simple, you guys. Just I'll call us to order. Around the table, I'll start over here. Select Board Member Meph Runyon, myself, Kevin Galligan, Michael Herman, Andrew Shaw Reed, also our Assistant Town Manager, Mark Reel, and in the audience, Lynn Bruneau. Welcome. And I know Laura St. John Dupuy will be just back. She's helped get us organized. As you can see on the agenda, we've got a few more policy items to try to make headway. There's one that says time permitting, but my hope today would be that we at least get some of these, quote, batched up and ready to bring as a submittal in a future full select board regular meeting packet that we can vote as a group. So this is still workshop mode, but that was item 3. And then we'll take a break and come back for our 5 o'clock meeting. Sound good?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right, Laura, you have got us so well organized today. I particularly like the numbering you did. Number 1 is the memo Mark wrote on policies. Number 2, current policy summary. Number 3, select board redlined. Number 4, other policies, and then policies to consider. So I think you kind of, like Thanksgiving.
Where are you reading
You
that
said
down, by the way?
So,
from our SharePoint.
yeah, that
If you
was
open-
related to G, right? The G policies.
Yeah, all the Gs, yeah.
So Denise, if I may.
Please.
Denise Bosang, HR Director, had put this together. She's on vacation this week, but I thought it would be good for you all to be able to go through. If you have questions, we can collect those questions, get them back to Denise. Council can respond, and then at the next meeting, when she's available to come in to discuss these with you, she can walk through again and answer any other questions that
Great.
may be had.
So for folks here, are you comfortable maybe focusing on this section G that allows us to hear, read what Denise has submitted and move this on? I think she did a great job. I read it very early this morning, and I didn't see anything. I'm just speaking for myself, but it could have been too early in the morning for me, but I thought she did an awesome job getting it current, as well as employment practices and laws that she kind of lives in. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, could we just, because so much of it is great, could we just go with the particular questions we have in each
Sure.
section?
Absolutely.
Because once I read the
Section-
detail, I was much better than,
Kim? Kim, just so you know, we've kind of set the table. What we're agreeing to do first is look at everything in the section G, kind of the employment policy review section that Denise put together, and kind of only looking at exceptions, because I think she did an awesome job. As you know, you've got excellent staff, including our HR person. So why don't you take it away, Andrea, if you've got some points.
In G10, it says, I would like the select board to review after, if department heads had run this by, G9 and G10.
Okay, so G9, performance evals, and G10, department backup?
Yeah. And then in G12, the innovation, there was a question about whether we should keep it. And it was like, we should have a global discussion of that, because we do want to reward innovation, and we have even tonight at the select board level, a special report about
We do.
innovation. So, maybe that's also one to revisit and refine.
Very timely.
And that was it. Otherwise, I really liked it.
I'm sorry, could you go back to what you had mentioned on G10?
Well, G9 is, keep having, G9, on G9, there's the question of assistant directors. If we have assistant directors in every department, there was a relationship between directors and assistant directors. I had a question about that in G9. It's because if the department has an assistant director, I've got to go back and pull up what G9 was. That was my note on it. Let's go back and call it out.
So it's a one-page policy statement. It relates to our performance evaluations of the town manager, police and fire chiefs, and our director of municipal finance only.
Right.
So, again, this is, to me, very limited in just our eval. I don't see assistants, because they don't report to us, but however you,
Yeah, it's our direct contracts, isn't it? I just, in this, as we change tools, so never mind, I'll go down a rabbit hole. In the past, we've been asked to comment on parts of their function that we have no idea of. We don't see
Okay.
it. And so interviews with support staff, which is really, I feel I don't know if that's any of our business, but how do we make this a truly fair and round, open process, robust process? And then how do we hold people accountable with not just once-a-year reviews? You can't encourage or change behavior, if necessary, with a once-a-year review.
okay.
And then G12,
Well, can we,
Sorry.
like, could we try to kind of flesh out G9? Like, do you have just some specific edits? Because I see, kind of as a standalone, not in a policy, we can do it anytime as update the instrument, Andrew. So
yeah.
that's kind of out there that if we wanted to revise it, or, that's always available.
So we
Please.
have already a conversation that's monthly between the select board and two of these three people, right? And so that conversation could be called out as an ongoing, give the chiefs credit for keeping that communication robust. But it's not, I don't think it's called out as part of the instrument or used in that way.
Okay.
And right now, only the executive, the chair, has options, has that conversation. Right? That's a special, so if we were really going to do, when I'm evaluating teachers and I'm trying to change different performance standards with teachers, I talk to them monthly. Yeah, but this isn't that kind of oversight. So it's just wrapping your head around, for instance, with the town manager's position, we don't have a way, job performance is incredible, but if there were any fine tuning with any of these three positions, how would you do it? Because we haven't done it. As a select board, we have not done it.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what kind of edit wants to be made to address
I don't,
kind of ongoing feedback process or something like that.
but also, Kevin, I guess one of the differences is from chair to chair. If the chair is alone doing it, then the executives have to adjust to the chair rotations, which is what we've been trying to avoid. We've included the vice chairs in some of those meetings, and that's gotten I think, a lot smoother all the way around the transitions. People know each other. Their working relationships start a year before they're having responsibility. If that's a successful technique, I don't think you're going to make it in an edit here.
Okay.
But I think we should revisit this because we're matching up an old way of looking at something that hasn't mentored our best staff, our highest performing staff. I think we haven't mentored them and asked of them what we can. And it's not in a way to broaden their jobs, it's to support them as professionals. Because
They
dealing
offer-
with the public is a really hard part of their job.
One suggestion, maybe,
Please.
you know, you do have the mid-year oral report that's provided to you by these folks that are in the policy, like the town manager,
Right.
police chief, fire chief, director of municipal finance. Is that something where maybe you provide a
Check-in.
just a written, like, check-in from each of you to each of those direct reports, so they understand, based on what they've reported on, what the direction they're going in the middle of the year, might be an opportunity for you to respond?
So there's a difference between, so this is where the pedal hits the metal. In an assessment, I have a performance assessment from the state of Ohio. I was one of the 3 people that did it for teachers, okay? So one of the things you look at is, are key key staff have in the past set goals that are very tangible and concrete. You know, I want this thing done by this time. That's very different than supporting them as professionals. It's not a project, it's not a task, that's part of the evaluation. But how do we make sure they're happy, healthy, and want to stay here? Our support of them is also part of it. So what are the goals? We've never asked them what are their own personal goals with their job satisfaction. Their goals are concrete, always. But I think we need to take care of our employees better than we do. And if they're not part of a conversation about that, and it's not reflected in the instrument, we can't do it. And if we don't check in on it, the same way if you're going to if you're going to do a marathon, you start training by just walking a mile. But we don't touch this in our assessment. And I think the new assessment instrument has the opportunity to do it, but we've never drilled down and looked at it.
I have two things
Please.
not related to that on this. We never do the evaluations before the annual elections, but because it hasn't been an issue for a number of years, right?
yeah.
But it is an issue this year, and I was thinking about that
Yeah.
the other day, which is, we want to make sure that Andrea gets the ability to participate retroactively, because it's for the last year.
Right, right.
We don't want to not include Mary or burden her with something that she
Doesn't.
inherits that she wouldn't, so but I also don't know that middle of May is the right timeline for evaluations, right?
But also, if
I mean.
we're going to tie it to a bonus, it needs to be done before the new
Yeah,
fiscal year.
I think that's true, and I just, if this is true and we want to keep it before the annual elections, it means we got to do it right now.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that, but I'm just going to make sure I push Jeff.
Yeah.
And it does mean, like, some of the things like that we were planning, like, I know for me, we're doing the investment policy after town meeting, like, there's a couple of goal
Right.
pieces we won't, it'll
Gotcha.
be a little sloppy end of the year stuff.
It's okay.
And the other one is, I'd love to strike the April 15th and just
Yeah.
say mid-year.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes we do that in January when we're before the budget, it's with the budget, so, April is like, the year's over. I mean, no offense, but
Yeah.
we're already thinking about the fall, so,
But under goals and objectives, I think we ought to look at those words
yeah.
and come back and have a qualitative and, quantitative and qualitative, divide those goals up. Because they're personal goals in terms of ongoing education or, that they may have that we never know about or support.
There can be a line in here somewhere about established performance goals that are both internal facing for the, like the employee,
Yes.
for the benefit of the organization, and then
And
externally
support.
focused.
Yes.
With the select board's
I like that.
objectives in mind.
That's
You know,
perfect.
it's-
That will deal with it.
Right, because, it is tricky for a person in a role like this. The board has a lot of great goals, and those are all my goals, but I also have a lot of things I need to do sometimes.
Right.
And, that has to have a priority too, and so we gotta figure that out.
We are often ignorant of how much you're doing, just like with the fire chief and the
Yes.
police
Tweet
chief.
that I made a couple weeks ago about remembering that we have day jobs, like, that's real, like,
true.
so, and I think, it'll get better once we get caught up with a lot of systems, but man, right now, it's 3
Kim,
years
you
in.
keep
and
saying that.
Listen, do less, that was this year's motto.
Yes.
That doesn't
Hasn't
happen.
happened.
It's
No.
not happening. It never happens.
Anyway, that
honestly.
was 9.
I just, on that point, because I did see Laura taking notes, do you have enough? Because I'm always trying to get the conversation into an editable
Yes.
version. You got enough?
Because I'll have the transcript from the meeting.
Great,
I'll be able to-
great.
My babble.
Other board members okay with the direction we're going on these edits? Because I think what Anne's trying to do is incorporate something that works in terms of the feedback loop that we don't
That
currently
you
have.
normally do, right.
Right.
Into
Yeah.
a process.
And making it more formal.
Exactly.
We're capturing it maybe 3
All
times a
right.
year.
So that's G9, good.
And G10 was
G10.
really easy. It's this backup plan, and
Yep.
I'm sorry, my notes were not
Okay.
clear. The backup plan, where we have assistant department heads, do we need a backup plan? That was my question.
Do we need this?
Do we even
Right.
need this?
That's right.
From a select board policy? I don't see it.
No.
I mean, that's why we have them.
It's literally part of the job description.
Exactly.
We hire for those roles that say may serve in the absence of
Yeah.
X. like the expectation is there when we hire them, you know, like there's no opting out, that's part
We
of
had
the job.
smaller departments.
It's a
when this was
remnant
written.
from
Yeah, I think you're right, Andrew.
previous.
So I was
administrator.
like, why do we need this?
I mean, look at the date
I
adopted.
think that that is.
Right, that's,
Mike,
hello.
you've pointed this out many times. These things have been collecting dust and have had no value.
I think that it can go. I
Okay.
think
Right.
The
So-
expectation, I mean, as long as the board is comfortable with my current understanding of what an assistant or a deputy does in the department, which
course.
is basically serves in the absence
Right.
of me. Like today, when I was 4 minutes late for my meeting, I literally said to Mark, to get up right now from your desk and go in and greet everyone. I was like,
I didn't need
"That's
that
the-
direction. I could have, you could have just said go in the other room. Stand up, walk.
But, you know, it's having that, it's like, you
Yes.
gotta have another person, so, you know, like,
Kim, you've developed it in the culture.
you know.
Yeah.
You don't even
Try.
have to ask Mark. We don't even have to
And
ask
then if
the
I can't
chief.
get Mark, I'll
Math
go to
for the
Kevin.
two of you.
Kevin is also very good at filling in.
To give credit where
A
it's
few more
due,
weeks.
Jeff is the one who helped us change as the select board, because he allowed me as the vice chair to start being part of the team, and it's worked.
It is
Such
working.
a great
Yeah.
way to transition, right? We were-
Yes, Lynn, on G10, which we plan to archive?
Yeah. Lynn Bruneau, the one question I have on this is, would it matter, would it make a difference for a department that had regulatory responsibilities? Or is the corner office the default in those cases? And is it obvious, or does everybody understand that the corner office would, in case something needed to be signed,
Right.
by a deadline and that sort of thing? So that's
Those
my
like the
only,
treasurer's office or the clerk's office, they get sworn in and basically have statutory authority to sign checks and things when people are out anyway, as part of the job function in those jobs, so that's why you have assistants in those roles.
I'm just thinking, if there's anything that treasurer, tax collector needs to do or sign on time, or if we've got some mega contract, but then the default I expect would be the corner office.
Yeah. And that's not a select board role or
No,
responsibility.
but it's at each town department. So my question is, a regulatory department, does a regulatory department need a backup signature?
Yeah, and they have them within their own
So-
departments, within their statutory authority.
So, again, that's,
To me, this is all town manager role. It really
Yeah, yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, it seems that this
We're
is a
good.
remnant from
It's
the past.
The most often it occurs is in like the treasurer's office, if the treasurer's out, someone needs to sign
Good
the
point.
checks. That's part of the job, so they're bonded, and the assistants are bonded in the same way, so they can perform that function.
so it's all
And with the clerk's office.
structured, okay.
Yeah, we're covered.
Lynn, the only one, just to show you how, I'm always thinking, when you bring something up, the only other would be looking at us as really key employees. So the five of us never get on one same flight together or one cruise with hantavirus. So, just,
Why are you pointing at me? This is not virus. This is clearly bronchitis.
on the same boat that had the 3
Right,
deaths from
right.
hantavirus.
The
No, Kim.
group didn't either.
No, exactly. So anyway, but very good to discuss that.
Just because I sound like a frog.
Okay. What was the other one? G12,
This.
Andrea?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, no, I think it's a whole system of innovation with staff.
With G12?
Yeah, it's.
Employee reward innovation?
Yeah, it's got various amount of monies that are out of date, and I think it's wrong for yeah, it smells bad, but the idea is good.
You skipped 11 and went to 12?
There were no comments.
All we were going to do was comment on exceptions only. If we were happy with the edits, we moved on. So we're up to 12, and I agree with you, Andrea. Plus, this has evolved even most recently.
Yeah.
We have whole new
We do have a whole new framework.
compensation framework.
Yes.
Yeah.
And structure with union. I think it should be archived.
Archive,
Archive, but to keep under Kim's leadership.
whole spirit of it,
the
yes.
Innovation.
I think she
Appetite.
is. I mean, she is
But if-
definitely looking at compensation, how to
Right.
inspire
Mm-hmm.
and retain and
Yeah, but I'm looking at individual bursts of genius that we just,
but again, look
Board.
back at this as an employee reward from the select board. I mean,
no, that's
this is
inappropriate.
so wrong for us
Right.
to be at this level of detail. You're laughing, Kim, but it's like,
And it's like
I mean-
$100 with, and
No,
it's
it-
ethically, not actually, you're
Allowed.
probably
Yeah,
allowed.
It's above 50. Anyway, let's
Profit
archive.
sharing in the.
But I will say, we did have a finance committee member suggest something like this, remember, at a meeting? So
Oh, yeah.
maybe you just want to default whatever this system is for this to the town manager's office to,
Oh, so as we archive it, put a note
Yes.
that just
that
says,
say,
transferred to town manager's office for,
so that posterity, because all these.
yes, for
in the arch-
posterity,
Yeah.
and, subject to whatever changes.
Compliance with state and federal law.
Yeah, it was state laws,
You
but
know,
also,
Because we do award innovation.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
but if you see the FY17 budget
I
line.
know, yeah.
I mean, this is just
I
out
think
of
we
date.
should archive it totally.
bye
I
bye.
agree.
You have your
I'm
own
just-
way of doing it, and you should
Yes.
be,
I'm just,
Keeps it in sync
all I'm
with,
saying is when you make the note about it being redacted, say,
there's a,
I don't think we should focus on the one comment from one person.
No.
at
No.
a meeting.
Right.
This is, I mean, like you say, it has 2017.
back then, there was a need,
Then maybe there was. It was
but no longer.
up to, yeah.
Yeah. All right, those are all the Gs. Select Board Personnel Policy Review of Section G.
Do we need to vote on anything?
Yeah.
More, Lynn? Please, come on up.
Not so much a change, but a consideration.
Yep.
Having watched any number of board and committee meetings in the last months, you might give some consideration, and this might be the place to put it, to see whether it's useful to have a code of conduct. The Finance Committee has one, as you know. They don't always remember that, but it's something to consider, and if you're not familiar with it, it's, the FinCom one is posted on their website, and it was adopted in August of '21 after there was a somewhat challenging spring quarter in that committee. And we had done some research as to see who else has one and what they look like. And it was, what it says is a code of conduct guided by state laws, town policies, and bylaws. And it basically, the section's standard of conduct generally in relation to the community and what the role of the committee member is, standard of conduct in relation to fellow committee members, and then in relation to town staff, which is where the sentence is to treat all staff as professionals, respects the abilities, experience, and dignity of everyone, and then procedures. So again, it's something you might give some thought to at some point.
You know, as you scan through all of these Gs, I can see where Lynn's going, that it could fit here. Go ahead, Mark.
So I'm not sure, Lynn, are you talking about a code of conduct that applies to boards and committees overarchingly, or are you talking about employees?
Well, it was written specifically for committee and committee members, and it's participation, active participation as a committee member, and your relationship with your committee, on behalf of the community, your role on the committee, but then also with regard to the staff,
Yeah,
the town staff and relationship.
Key, it gives you that clarity on interaction.
Yeah, I'm just bringing it up because in your policies to consider, there's a section on employee conduct,
Right.
which would create a code of conduct for employees. But I think Lynn is getting to
Yeah,
a
a broader
broader,
But
I think we would have an employee one versus a
committee.
we
one.
also rejected
multi-member body.
inserting a code of conduct into the charter at town meeting years ago. And
3
we,
years ago.
and we also have to deal with, as select board chairs, the freedom of speech and the behavior in, so whether it's in a committee meeting or it's a select board meeting, the expectation of behavior and the free speech rules are incredibly important. And so, I don't know how we, other than chair training, which is another way to go at this without creating a policy that might put us at risk with freedom of speech issues.
I can comment on it a little bit. The select board can absolutely structure and create rules around the way that advisory boards function. We're going to be reviewing the charges very soon about that. I do think, because we've had a number of different types of incidents over the last year in particular, I think the select board should consider something of a warning system where maybe they, if something gets reported, which we've had, I quite honestly, quite frequently in the last couple of months about statements or mischaracterizations or things where the board decide, not, censure is too strong of a word, but like, there has to be a way to say, when you volunteered for an advisory committee, you agreed to these things, including
Yep.
this thing about these steps. And our practice is, the first strike is we'll reach out and just let you know the warning that this doesn't match what we expect, and we hope it changes. And then maybe the second statement is like, if it continues, then we'll have to discuss your continuation on the board. Right? It's that, because some of this is, in addition to going beyond the charges or the scopes of these committees, the statements have been really, in some instances, pretty derogatory and really uncalled for. Now, not as bad as some that we saw maybe last year, but it's not great for morale.
No.
So, and it's not, and we've talked about this, I don't want to keep harping on it, but it's not great for me and my staff to have to keep defending ourselves in public meetings, against our own advisory boards.
Right.
So it's different with regulatory boards, it's different with an independent board like the Finance Committee potentially, but I'm just saying, I'd like you to consider it when we talk about the charges, that maybe it's part up to sign up and then they train,
Could
and
be
they get trained,
if I may,
yes.
in the handbook.
Yeah.
Committee handbook,
Handbook
yes.
of
Yes.
each other with dignity and respect,
Exactly.
and maybe a little warning system as Kim
Yeah,
said.
just like,
And then they
Also-
all have to follow it. First warning maybe comes from the chair of the committee. Does that get then
Right.
kicked out
Yes.
to the select board? I mean, they are the chair, they should be able to handle their committee, but not everybody
it's comfortable.
is, yeah.
I would
so-
rather have it tucked in with the other, because my big bugahoo of 8 active committees is committee members don't understand conflict of interest and open meeting law.
100%.
And so
We're gonna
I think
work on
this
that
is,
this
but
year.
again,
It's
if
gotta
we
be on
have
the
to
list.
ask for participation, not just being sworn in, but evidence that they've done the work.
Yeah.
And the state is doing it every other year, I think,
Mm-hmm.
for some of the training. It's not enough. I mean, so many conversations I've stopped on
You're talking
email.
conflict of
Yeah.
interest and ethic.
We've got to do it.
Open meeting law training, Kevin, with emails flying and
Can I ask a-
things being debated.
I mean, we get, as you know, an email to us.
We get them
You
too.
have to
Required.
fill it out.
We do.
So do you get a recap of who didn't fill it out
Yes.
from our boards and committees?
Yes.
Talking about conflict of interest?
Yeah.
Molly
Yeah.
has,
So that goes out to all committee members too?
Yes.
Just checking.
Right.
Yes.
And so then, if it hasn't been filled out,
No,
I think we need to, that's step one, if they haven't even.
but
read
conflict of
interest.
interest is different than behavior.
Right.
No, I know.
And so,
But it should be a multifaceted.
oh, no, they
because
need to be trained.
It's high, we are, unlike other communities, when I first was at the planning board, one of the members said, "Oh, I don't need to read the packet, you're lucky to have me in the seat." And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And, no,
That
we
doesn't
expect
work.
performance here, and we ought to be clear about that we expect performance, preparedness,
Right.
and training.
Comment on one of my observations since I've gotten here, and it's positive, I swear. A lot of incredible advisory board members, not a lot of clarity on direction of what these boards are supposed to be doing.
Right.
And unfortunately, that has to come from us, which is why we have to redo the charges. And it's not about control, it's literally about, let me give an example, I've seen happen a couple of times, I won't say what specific committees, but people are very well-intentioned when they volunteer for boards and committees. They're excited about it, they like the town, they're positive. A lot of them are quitting early in instances, and they're leaving with a bad taste in their mouth about the town. And so that means we're failing with the advisory boards. And part of the problem is, in the absence of leadership, other leaders will arise, as we have seen. And the information, sometimes toxic environments, that's a strong word, but like, environments filled with misinformation get created in the absence of leadership. And then well-intentioned volunteers who have shown up to do what they believe the select board wanted are told those things by other committee members, and then then correct them. This has happened to me a couple of times now, where I'm like, that's not the charge, that's not what you do, and then they get upset because they feel like we're telling them we don't want it's bad, it's broken. And it doesn't reward what they start. It's terrible. I mean, everyone in this town is
can do
good.
better.
There haven't been any, there's no real egomaniacs or
Right.
any of that in this town.
Just one or two, but.
Yeah, but no, seriously, in other towns, you get a lot of people that just want to sit on a board and not read. I haven't experienced anyone in this town that wants to do that, and we're losing good people on these committees because we're not giving them something substantive to do in direction, and so we need to prioritize it.
Mary?
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I think we can see the distinction, chair by chair, of how well the chair manages their committee, if you want to call it that. But I've certainly felt, when you come onto a committee, there's not as much onboarding. Well, let's use, you train a dog, educate a person, right? The onboarding, I think, is just, it's not consistent. And I think it's also really hard to create, that sense of fellowship, camaraderie, or whatever, if all you ever do is sit at these chairs. So I think, whatever we can do to reward, the other thing is, it's all, we talk about this a lot in terms of, do you penalize somebody or do you incentivize them to do something else? And I think we can do a lot in terms of incentivizing people to behave in a way that makes sense because they become goal-oriented, and because the other thing is, you think about nonprofits and the way nonprofits fall over themselves to thank their volunteers. And we don't do that as much as a nonprofit does.
Started.
No, but we don't. I mean, we don't do it as much. It's not that we can't do more, but I'm just saying, or not that we haven't made steps in the right way. But I think we have to recognize, they are going to do what they will fill a space if it's not there. And the problem is that people begin to fill a space with the wrong behavior
The gap theory.
rather than doing it the way we would like. So anything we can do to sort of create a better sense of, sort of this is the way it should work, and that there is not, I think the other thing is people think there's a secret handshake.
Yeah.
And there isn't, but we have that sense, and so I think whatever we can do to sort of create that, so that's
Builds
lovely.
trust, it builds
Yeah.
performance, and in fact, to Kim's point, it makes people feel good about serving. Especially
Absolutely.
if some of their meetings, like ZBA, goes for hours, or CONSCOM.
Yes.
4 hours going through stacks and stacks of, plans and,
Oh, And, the dedication, you're absolutely right, but let's be sure, I think it's this whole point of, if we want people to behave in a certain way, then let's demonstrate what that is, and make it a lot easier to follow it, rather than having people have to be pulled back from doing something, so,
so
anyway,
thanks.
great.
This definitely has a whole separate
It does.
area.
The
Yeah.
board is going to have to make some tough choices
Right.
about what advisory boards you want to keep and which ones you've grown on from, just like these
Right.
policies, so.
Go ahead, Matt.
Just a comment, and, we may be to blame for encouraging this, rotation on committees. So, having qualified chairmen on committees is,
It makes a
they're not
difference.
all qualified, so.
Yeah. I
letting
mean, not
the,
to belabor it, but, we've all been liaisons to many committees, and you can tell. I mean, I just use David Little, he sticks to his charge. Mark, you're right there as a voting member, and he sees if somebody is going down a path, he'll basically say,
Course correct.
that's not what we're here for. That's good, but it's because he's got the horsepower. I mean, he's served in so many ways already. But at the same time, to your point, Kim, we want to encourage new people to feel comfortable in that role too. But it takes training,
Yeah.
it takes some
I
support.
think maybe, Meth, when we're doing about the select board goals for next year,
Mm-hmm.
maybe one of them is like, you and I attend each meeting when we go through the charges and say, this is how we need your help in this committee.
Mm-hmm.
The select board needs you in this advisory role to do X, Y, and Z, and we appreciate you serving. And if you have any questions about what your function is, your staff liaison is here, and this is what we need you for this, And then they'll feel like, we've reconnected about purpose, after we figure out how many of these committees we need.
Right.
Good. All right, well, that's a good segue. So I think for the G policies on the good work Denise did, I think the whole personnel group is good to go? Okay. Mission accomplished.
Those are Just the existing ones, you had separate
There are other policies,
Right.
right?
policies that are to be considered. I don't know if you want to, if you have any comments on those or not at this point.
So I see, are you looking at number 4, Mark,
Yes.
on other policies reviewed, or are you looking at
Looking at policies.
policies to consider? Okay, so Americans with Disabilities Act, reasonable accommodations. I mean,
Yes.
is this standard? Like,
This has all been provided through Labor Council.
right,
So these were policies that council suggested we consider adding.
mm-hmm,
These weren't previous policies.
we don't have them
We
currently.
don't have them, and some of them are referenced in our union contract.
Oh, goodness.
And some of them
Yep.
will need to be impact bargained.
Right.
Oh, if we do vote them,
Yep.
then collective bargaining?
Yep.
Have you flagged any of those, or,
I think most of these would,
oh, okay.
Well, the family leave, I thought some of the family leave and accommodation for new parents and stuff, I remember reading that language in our union stuff.
yep.
Those aren't, I think it's bringing the rest of our policies up to date with what's present in our union policies.
So,
Some would be for personal bylaw employees that the policies would impact. Some of this is, and this is where Denise can honestly speak more to which
Yes.
ones, but these are policies that we don't have that we should consider.
and I have to also keep asking, should these be select board policies? Because many of these are just how you guys
Higher, right?
hire and oversee and.
Well, I guess
support.
that's a question because
I'm seeing most of this to be employee.
Yeah, some
Corey
towns
should. Does
usually
the
have to adopt some of the policies. For if you're going to act, something like domestic violence has to be a choice,
Right,
unless it's a state law, right? So the board would have to adopt that, but honestly, we want to make our lives easier. Why don't we wait until we're about to negotiate again in
Next.
another year or two?
Yeah.
And then we can worry about it then,
I like Corey screening.
right?
I do think that it'd be good for Denise to come in and talk through this though, because she's
Yeah.
done a lot of work on it, so
Yes.
I don't want to miss something
Right.
where she
Yes.
feels is strongly needed and we should do now versus later, so.
And COBRA extensions, all that, it needs time. I mean,
You
we
know,
need to think about
The
it.
other thing I thought as I was reading these early this morning was, other towns have adopted some in-office restrictions on federal government invasion.
Yes.
I don't want to use the word, but I will, ICE.
Right.
And if you've done any of the Mass Municipal Association training on ICE, it almost is saying you need a policy to restrict private workplace areas and sign them. There has to be signage. So it's not to say we're not, trying to keep criminals off the street. We're not saying that, but we also need to adopt policies that
Municipal buildings.
buildings safe.
Right.
So there could be another one to add. So I think, Mark and Kim, where you're going is, we need Denise to come back and go through these and maybe suggest an implementation pathway.
Right. Yeah, I think there's some important ones here that
Yeah.
we should consider.
Well, some of them shouldn't wait, like the email policies, because that's,
You guys are already doing that with the No Before training. I mean, have you got every staff person going through those?
Receiving the
Yes.
emails, yes.
Doing them occasionally.
no, but this is
So many.
confidential.
Every time you feel you catch up,
Private and
you get like
confidential for
2
record.
more.
That's,
Again,
Never ends.
is this our bailiwick?
No,
It's not
it's
ours.
not.
Yeah.
Well, I don't, see, this is the question though, I think, is in the charter, I don't believe it says that the town manager sets any policy. That it's the
I like
select
that.
board
Well,
sets policy direction and,
most
so,
of these are practices. We call these called policies, but they're really
Yeah, they're
things you look out for and do. But Michael, you're going to say?
No, just to add, I know we're gonna be looking at things in the future. I had Snow Library yesterday, and they're looking at AI policies too. So I think that's something down the road, doesn't need to be done with this, but
Ooh.
I think they're gonna reach out to you, what AI.
Just the person to write it.
Who,
ChatGPT.
who's talking about AI policies at the library? Just
The board.
the
Trustee?
library board of trustees? Okay,
Tavi said he would come in and discuss that.
okay.
So I'm just letting you guys understand that sooner or later, all of towns, and whether it's a state policy, everybody's starting to look at this, and there is gonna be policies put in place in the next 6 months to a year. Just getting us a heads up.
Yeah,
Not
it
saying
really-
we need to rush to do it, and maybe we take state guidance or Mass Municipal,
And
whatever.
probably not going to get much,
All right, exactly, but.
yeah.
If I could just add one thing, when we start talking about the ADA policies, the recreation project in their hearings
Yep.
came, the town used to have a committee. It used to have someone designated to be.
Yes, the ADA
And we
officer.
don't have anything now.
Yeah.
And you become ineligible for some grant applications because of that.
There you go.
Davis is designated as the ADA officer now.
Right.
Just so you know.
Mm-hmm.
But you used to have a committee.
Yeah, there was. I don't know how long ago that.
Yeah, 3 people, I think it was.
All right, so let me make a note, and Meth, this will be on your to-do list,
Yeah.
is Denise come back in on additional policies or practices to consider. This shows how, I can't remember everything, and I admit it, but did we ever adopt a flag policy on town property? We did? Okay, thank you. I just,
I was thinking about that
It's
the other
still
day too.
here.
Gotta get out of my brain.
it just comes and goes, so, okay, so we've got other policies placed somewhere. What else have we got within this? Micah, you weren't here, I'm just going down our list of what's in the packet. The Environmental Sustainability Climate Omnibus Policy,
Oh,
have you had a
God.
chance to
Yeah,
go through that?
I did, and I know you guys reached out to me earlier, and
Yep.
I made some comments. I think it's great you've got in there. As I mentioned, there were some things that I think in the future, not necessarily need to go into this one, but as Andrea and Beth have talked about before, but whether it's light pollution in dark skies needs to somehow, and I thought maybe we could put one sentence in for these, that we are as a town looking at this and we support, dark sky initiatives. Just something simple like that, and whether it's noise pollution, whether it's visual pollution. I also mentioned that, on the environmental stuff, I like the idea if we review it every December, January, and see what new things are coming, like leaf blowers, this constantly is changing and evolving. And, plastics, we didn't touch a lot on that. I think that's a major issue for us. I heard your conversation about compostable, and that was great, and thank you for bringing that up. But I think I've said for years now, and I think that I definitely feel we need an environmental committee, one of our committees, whether we adjust the charge of the energy and climate change or whatever it is. But if you list all these things, we have no advisory board looking at any of
Right.
this stuff.
The last plastic thing came out of Conscom.
But even like noise, even like, just to give us some feedback, like the leaf blowers, who would look at that? We don't really have anybody saying, like, if we say, okay, please look at Lexington, see if that could work in our town, what is your opinion? We have an amazing energy and climate change committee, but they're focused, to be honest, on EV.
Yeah, they're not less
and
environment.
solar. That's really it. That's all they honestly really look at. And the environment and climate change is so much more than that.
But
So-
if we also engage the Board of Health, because some of
Of
these
course,
are
yeah, we need to-
Board of Health
it would-
issues.
but we would
Noise
have
and
a-
light pollution can be traced back to Board of Health stuff, too.
Yeah,
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 I
but
would-
this committee could advise the Board of Health, as they do advise us.
Yeah, hold those thoughts, because I think it's a good one, particularly in committee revisions, that, and again, I've said over and over again, how wastewater management brings together
Yeah.
designees from across the spectrum.
Yes.
And we work really well
Yeah,
together.
yeah, it's synthesized.
So you've got all the heads
Right.
around the table
We need to do
that,
more of that, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
and this could
Hello.
be one of the others that could do that. As soon as you mentioned Board of Health, it's like, that came to mind in terms of having
Having
different
a designee,
representation.
Making sure everybody's in fine.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, planning board and board of health are both setting up those rules at times.
there we go.
Yeah.
Well, they
But
are.
don't
And
do
we
it.
are too. So
Right.
we're
Do
putting,
think.
we're talking about putting policies together right now that do touch on Board of
That's right.
Health, that
Yeah.
do touch on planning board, but we're
So
going
I will
ahead.
leave it up to you guys to get done that phase out of gas-powered,
Leaf blowers.
thank you, and hedge trimmers.
Remember that, just as a reminder to you and the public, we have electric blowers and
Town's done it.
equipment that are being used, so it's a good
Residents.
opportunity to start, having staff utilize this newer technology and get comfortable with it before we cut them off from the gas-powered blowers, et
Yeah,
cetera.
it's a phased approach.
Yeah, let's give it 3 years and work with Cape Light Compact to make it financially feasible for professional landscapers.
You're saying there
Phase
were
that equipment out.
incentives? My goodness.
Yes.
I will say, having bought a replacement, or just have a second battery
Yes.
in reserve,
Yes,
expensive.
yes, I have 3
It was
batteries.
$89 just for this little
Yeah.
But they last for
backup
years and
battery.
years
They
and
do,
years.
they do, but I still cringed, because I'm cheap. Okay, so want to make sure you had eyes on the environmental sustainability. Mark put a
Yes,
lot of effort into it,
Yes.
and I think we got that ready to go. And
What's in our packet is without all the edits, it's the original
Yeah,
document.
that's
It's
all I
the-
was able to
Yeah.
look at. I don't
Mark,
think we
you
got
didn't
it
give
all.
us an edited
I
one.
haven't had a chance to
Yes.
finalize the edits.
That's
I've
right.
sent this to the Board of Health, or to the Health Department to
Great.
review it or not.
I guess my thing is, whatever we decide now, that's great, but it's a living, evolving document.
Yeah.
That if we make sure we have a stop in there that we follow to look at it once a year and say, we're good with it, no need changes, or maybe we should,
An update with state standards.
yeah, everything's evolving.
Yeah.
so just to kind of, I think, bring this around to close to closure, at least with what we have bundled together, is, and thank you, Denise, for a rundown of every policy, and there are some we haven't touched, there are some that are still in process, but for the ones that are listed as either we've recommended be archived, we've got amendments we've made, and we've got some that are still under review, I think we could, if you're comfortable, bundle these up as one package that would, again, with Denise, with your cover, just show kind of what we're bringing forward, realizing there's still more to come, and then put them in a future select board meeting packet.
Can you look at the edits? You'll see edits, for instance, on the omnibus
You
before.
want to see the track changes?
Absolutely, on
Yeah.
what we spent a lot of time on that. I'd
We
like to
did.
see that they're adopted,
Yeah.
that the edits are in there.
So I think the request, Laurie, is a red line set and a clean set. Sound good?
Yeah, are we just talking about G here?
No, we're talking about the whole
Through G.
spreadsheet that we've got from Denise that shows what we've amended, so the As, what we've archived, so people can see what's been put in the historical file, and just run down, all the way through G.
Yeah. Are there any questions between A through G that we are hanging out there and outstanding?
Just, we need input from Darren on F,
Which is the one that I need.
and that's,
Oh, great, okay.
I mean, E, rather. Yeah, we just need input from Darren on E, and we're not pushing that right now.
And H8.
HIJK,
Mm-hmm.
R2B.
I do need to talk about one if you're thinking about adjourning.
I was? Go ahead.
We're not going to.
We have to talk about
And-
J1.
Citizen recognition, you want to do that now or at the full meeting?
Well,
I thought
wanna-
it was,
No, we are going to, but we need to talk about J1, just to get the context of what we're
Okay.
doing. So if you can all get to J1,
get,
Yeah, because I was confused with Citizen of the Year,
okay,
what we've been doing with that one.
which is what this is.
Where are the J's?
They were in
J's.
Select Board Policy Workshops. Workshop
5,
5, 6. Yeah, that's where I saw
You
them.
can just take mine, Michael, if you
Couldn't-
need a
Yeah,
hard
I couldn't
copy.
find them
It's fine,
myself.
we don't really need to read it. And so
There we go.
you used to have a Citizens of the Year.
Yes.
Yes.
Which you still should do, and you should bring back. So later tonight, in a
Look.
couple more minutes, I'm going to be
Yes.
giving a presentation about an award program
There we go.
that we are starting in the town that is called Make Waves. And it's more elaborate than the Citizen of the Year. What we wanted to know, Amanda and I didn't want to be presumptuous and assume that you would want to roll your good citizen into our Make Waves program. Essentially, we'd like to include it, and you still would have full autonomy over it, but we would like to have it, be included as part of our Make Waves.
Yep.
And that's really all we were asking for, was that we didn't want to do it without consulting you first during the policies. We assumed you would be okay with it, so we've prepared for that, but if you think of any reason why you wouldn't want it, the Make Waves program essentially, will come out of the manager's office and the executive team, and it's, the executive team will make these awards, we'll talk about the specifics later, right? We have a couple of different categories we'll get more into, but one is to recognize service for employees for a certain number of years. One is to recognize select board members for their time on the board, and the other is from nominations from the community about people who best embody the spirit of Orleans about making waves. And it's gonna have an incredible art installation that is gonna be right inside this hallway here, and I'm gonna show you the draft of that. And it's by Steve Swain, so I won't ruin any of the surprise for the stuff later, but mostly I just need you to look at your policy, see if you wanna make any changes to it, and then say, do you think you want to keep it separate from this thing, or do you want to include it? And if so, then later you can decide if they should also get one of the awards that we make and give. Is everyone following me?
I follow it, and I'm thinking, trying to be as minimalist as possible. We could add the language that would say it shall be the policy select board in conjunction with the town manager's office Make Waves
Yeah.
program to select annually. So it's like, they just dovetail, so
We'll
we're
help
not,
coordinate for you.
The only question would be, in the current policy, it says 3 out of 5 select board members.
must vote. I mean, God.
Yeah, so my question would be what's the process
that's-
by
yeah.
somebody is, because how do we keep it from being a popularity contest?
Well, see, that's the thing. So I do want ours to be sort of separate, Make Waves isn't limited to any specific number
right.
in a year. It is really about above and beyond, and a sense of community, and that we're all part of the same village. Your Citizen of the Year is whatever you determine it should be for you guys.
Yeah.
And in some instances, like Mev and I have talked a little bit about, like, you'll get nominations, or you'll talk amongst yourself of who they are. We'll get nominations, and maybe you'll figure out that it's one, and maybe you'll get lucky in the person you consider has been nominated in the other one, and then it's a way to sort of, like, if you go back to the thing, and what do you have, the cane or whatever downstairs?
Oh, yeah, the
Yeah,
oldest.
the Boston
And
Post.
if you want to do that and use that as your citizen, and then there's ways
No,
that
that's
we
an
can.
age.
I tried to do that, and that didn't
I'm
work
just saying,
out well.
this is a way to really recognize people who make the community what it is, right?
Yeah.
And not be a popularity contest, which is why,
It's criteria.
right, ours has some criteria, and its nominations are open to anyone, and then the team is all of my department heads, so the chiefs and Rich, and so,
So I do have a question, because I'm thinking scope. It's one thing where staff can identify volunteers or service that they've experienced, right?
yeah, but the public nominates too. Anyone can nominate anyone.
Nominate.
Through the Make Waves program.
Yes,
Great,
exactly.
because we have so many
Anybody.
nonprofits that are doing incredible
That's
work
No,
and
exactly.
advocating.
And they're saying, like, this is like, I mean, I don't want to like spoil it, but let's just use Peter Jensen as a
Yeah.
perfect
Just-
example of a person who absolutely needs to be recognized
Yes.
for something incredible.
Yeah.
Is he the Citizen of the Year, or is he a Make Waves person? To me, I think he's a Make Waves
Yes.
person.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Steps up and, does this thing, and it's incredible. It's an incredible contribution, and he should be recognized for the year that he did it in on the wall. That's how I think.
So
about it, right?
Go ahead.
I just want to throw in a different idea, because the same way Peter has made physical his leadership, and he's trying to update us for best practices. Within our scope, it wouldn't necessarily be Citizen of the Year, but back to our conversation about chairs and leadership and board service, that puts somebody in the position to mentor and change the caliber of a conversation. How would you recognize that if it's not Citizen of the Year, but it's been leadership within town government?
That's why it's fun, this is good for me, because my thing is all happy, forward. Yours is harder, because you have to determine, do you want to use it to recognize? We're gonna go through the actual criteria in the meeting, but like, again, without spoilers, one of them is, you know, you're gonna recognize years of service for employees, but you're also gonna have the ability to recognize years of service for learn-time contractors or people that the town has worked with. So
Oh, God,
really,
yeah.
Mike Ford is gonna get one, right? So like, and maybe something extraordinary happens during the year, but I doubt it. Like, I would think that your Citizen of the Year is your recognition of longtime contribution to the community, elder statesman.
Right.
Essential award, and ours are about acts of service related to the community.
And I'm asking for smaller increments, the same way Peter did a project, and Peter's been championing. I can think of several chairs who not only serve, but they've, because of their own leadership, have changed the boards they've served on. They've served on multiple boards.
That could
You
be,
guys can talk about it.
But would that, it wouldn't,
that fits under, number one, selection will be based on if you see that.
wouldn't be Citizen of the Year, because it's been,
It
it's,
could be.
It could be.
I mean, down there and further in the policy, it says Good Citizen
Right.
Award. You could do that instead and stop calling it Citizen of the Year. You know, and then it wouldn't, because mine is gonna be about actions and yours is gonna be about history, right, potentially. So maybe you change the title of it.
but also it
You know,
gets us to think about, Citizen of the Year, I think, is external, like length of service.
Yes.
But discrete, I'm thinking back towards what is a volunteer experience in this community? And if we are developing a whole new way of saying, thank you, we see you, and we value your contributions, maybe we need to flesh out not just Citizen of the Year, but create the kind of categories that respond to the expectations that we're seeing for performance.
And maybe once you see, like, we go through the presentation of what we think ours is gonna do, it'll help you identify.
Parallel.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why adding the words, you know, in coordination or in conjunction with.
Yeah, but I think our Citizen of the Year needs to be fleshed out a little bit.
We are still in draft phase, since we've only began working on this in the fall, but due to circumstances, we had to expedite some of it. So tonight's presentation will be in draft form, because we had to
It's okay.
make it happen real quick, so people understand what we're talking. It helps to have visual aids, Andrea,
Right.
you know? You know that your name tags are backwards.
We did that to
Oh, my
see if you were
goodness, Someone
reading.
noticed.
Wow.
That's absolutely that's the good, so, you
She
know,
wins the prize.
Yay.
but she also spoke up. Kim
It
spoke
took her
up
2 hours,
to
but-
identify.
Oh, 1 hour exactly.
It's basically over. I wasn't gonna bring it up during the meeting.
Oh, yeah, you guys are too, and not on
You guys are
purpose.
backwards, too.
We did ours on
There
purpose.
you go.
There's a story about that, but not
Gotta
on
make
camera.
workshops somewhat fun.
Yeah, works.
Yeah.
All right.
Great.
That's a
So-
good point.
So
So,
we're gonna roll it in, and you guys are gonna think a little bit more about it, and if you wanna change the policy or whatever,
We're gonna roll it in, but we're keeping it.
We're
the
keeping it
select board.
Separate, right.
absolutely, it's
yeah.
yours forever.
that's a
Keep it.
good,
No, I just think there's different ones, like you said. There's immediate things, and then the
Right,
select, I
long-
think sometimes
yeah.
people do want the select board to vote
yeah.
No,
on their award.
absolutely.
It brings a little bit of,
Right.
yeah.
Good.
So,
We got a game plan. I love it.
we're leaving J&K.
Yeah, we just know J1 will need some work.
You can still go through them and
No,
send
no, I'm
your
gonna
notes.
give Mary all my notes.
Andrew, we expect you to be
No
sitting
way.
right next to
Yes,
Lynn.
yes.
And we'll call you up and say,
Doesn't
Public
fit with my
citizen.
sabbatical,
public
sorry.
citizen Andrea, you are more than welcome.
No,
We're gonna miss you.
thank you.
All right. I think at 4 o'clock it might be,
Mr. Chair, I move that we adjourn at 4:01.
okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. We'll be back.